Hal didn't waste any time. Like some guides I've hunted with, they may take a client out and get those first day jitters out of the way with a good hike, wear them down a little bit. Well, we didn't have time to get rid of my jitters. We were right into the hunt, and right away we got on a mule deer buck. Right there. Yeah.
That's him. You go on up ahead, Mark, and you make the call. Get a little closer up over that ridge.
All right. He's just not heavy. Yeah, he's a young deer. I think I'm gonna pass. Oh, he's heading out now. Well, I'd love to watch this buck, especially chasing those does. That's fun, but I am on a super tight schedule. More time I waste here, less time to hunt. It's time to go hunting.
Well, I think we'll start out and maybe try to do some, look through these pines a little bit, and we'll do a little more stalking through them. And then from there, we'll wander into these river bottoms, I think. And during the middle of the day, I call it the desert because it reminds me of the desert. It's just that big open gumbo country, a lot of sage, cactus. Everybody that comes to this ranch should experience the desert at least once.
Well, I'm up for any challenge, so spot and stalk. I got all the optics I need to spot them, and I think my feet will stalk them.
Okay, we'll find out. We're gonna get up here to this spot and we'll get your optics out, your big Nikon scope, and take a look around.
Okay. On our way out to the hunting location, I learned something else that really pleased me. They just don't take many hunters. It's a small mom and pop operation, the very kind of operation I like. 4, 5, 6 hunters a year, maybe a few more if game densities are high, a few less if he's not seeing as many deer. He tailors it to what he sees yearly, annually. And with that, I couldn't be happier because I knew we were gonna see a lot of deer. Well, we might not see a lot of whitetails. They were having a hard time this year, but I trusted we'd see the mule deer, and why not? I'd seen a ton of them on the drive-in in my Ram. Well, that gives a lot of variety of cover to this ranch. These pine ridges, these are all ponderosas, is that right?
Ponderosa pine.
Yeah. Now let's move a little bit further ahead here. This country can be challenging, as diverse as it is, because you always don't have a lot of cover. Oh, we're not seeing a whole lot out here, but you think it's because of the drought? They maybe moved more towards the creeks or what?
The drought, and for the 19th of November, it's just bloody warm out here today. Them deer might be moving off. We're kind of on the edge of the creek beds here.
Yeah, there's deer right there up on that little divide, isn't it? Well, let's just work up. We can get a better look at the doe and fawn. There might be a buck
tracker laid down beside him out in this stuff. It's so hard to see sometimes.
I knew it was going to be a challenge, but I felt I was up to the challenge. Hours to hunt, diverse terrain, and hopefully a good mature muley buck in between, and the hornady bullets would get put to use.
A little spike or a little 2x2.
Believe it or not, mule deer were actually the last of the deer species to evolve. Blacktails were in the western United States, whitetails in the east. They met in the middle and created the baby, the mule deer. Now, mule deer evolved in open country, so they act a little bit like pronghorns. They try to gather a harem during breeding season. They try to keep that harem together, but they also rely on their eyes quite a bit, just like the pronghorn, to look for danger. Now, mule deer are having a tough time in the West. There's no doubt about that. Well, we're halfway through the hunt, and as no surprise, we're not seeing a lot of whitetails, so we haven't really been focusing on whitetails, but I really am pleasantly surprised about the number of mule deer we're seeing. It's not like they're not here. We still just haven't seen that one to shoot.
Yeah, and we'll see more deer. We're doing all right. We've seen a lot of good deer. We just haven't seen the one.
Okay, let's go see some more.
Okay.
Northeast Wyoming is diverse, and where the ranch is located, FAB Ranch Outfitters, You can't imagine how diverse the terrain is here. The ranch consists of high hills, mountains covered in ponderosa pine. And below those mountains are rivers and creeks. And then you have big open sagebrush flats that go up into higher buttes. All of that combines for great big game country. Whitetails, mule deer, pronghorn, and quite a few Miriam's turkeys in between. You can find it all, and Hal and Nancy outfit for it all.
Mark, I think that's a deer over there. He's a long ways out though, but there's some does, and
Oh yeah, I see him over there.
I think that one's a big buck.
You're gonna love that edge scope, and that's what you need for
For as far away as he
Oh
is.
man.
He's a pretty good buck. He's a buck we probably should make a move on, Mark, and try to get a little closer.
All right, let's go from here.
Let's go.
Hal was starting to think like I was, that we probably should start working down. Down to where? Back to the river and see if we couldn't find some of those mule deer returning to the fields. Those fields, they didn't have much on them, but they were the only source of nutrition that really had a good staple around. I can see deer.
Mark, I think what we need to do is get back down this dike, go back down it a ways, and try to use this hump, because there's no cover at all. I mean, we're going to be in the wide open on this deer no matter what we do.
But there's just enough rise, like you said. He won't see us if we make that big swing.
Make a swing out and get behind that rise and come up. Maybe we can come up and see if that deer's in there.
The first part of the move wasn't too hard. We had a very slight rise, but just enough to hide our forms. That gave us time to cover that big open flat.
That's him right there, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, that's him.
I think you can get a shot, Mark, if you go it alone up there. I'm going to hang back and watch from here.
It was a shooter. It was a mature mule deer buck, heavy antlered, dark horn. I hit the ground and started crawling as fast as I could. There was no cover. I had nothing to hide behind. Straight away. Still no shot. There he's moving. Okay. Oh, he went right down. Right down. He's not moving. Hal rushed up right behind me and congratulated me as I just sat there in amazement that everything had worked out in the last few seconds. What do you think of that, Hal?
Great job, Mark. Good shot. Good shot.
That was exciting.
That deer went right down, too. I mean, did you get a chance to range him?
He's 254.
254.
Yep.
I figured he was 250 when we...
But you see that brush there?
Yeah.
He was starting to walk behind it. That's
seen
why
that.
I don't like shooting him on the walk like that,
Yeah.
but I figured if he gets one or two more steps, then it's I don't know where we're going to get the next stalk on him. I want to go take a look at this guy and see what he is.
Let's go see what he is.
I probably could have hunted a little more, but not a lot more. And if you have a short hunt window, getting everything to come together like that, having all the intricacies and elements play out in your favor, well, you know how hard that is. It rarely happens like that without putting in several days of hard hunting. All right, look at this.
Beautiful Northeast Wyoming mule deer, real typical of our deer up here.
Just look at the nice mass
Nice
on
heavy
him.
mass. He's a big bodied, nice mature deer, real white face.
And look at how his antlers sweep back so nice, almost like an elk.
I didn't realize he had this height out in the field when we were looking at him.
No. Hal and I walked up to that buck, both still beaming at the fact that we'd pulled off something that was actually almost impossible. Nice, heavy horn. He's broke up. Look at that, he's been fighting.
Been fighting up there on that time.
Hit the dirt a little hard here.
I knew he hit the dirt hard. I think he's a beautiful northeastern Wyoming 4x5 mule deer. I just thought he was a real nice representative of the mule deer breed. Not only did we get a nice animal, but I met a very nice man and got to hunt with him and enjoyed the outdoors and enjoyed the ranch with me.
He's got a nice white face. Just look at this, that exit wound up high in the shoulder. You know, I shot him quartering away with that Hornady SST bullet. That's what made him drop right there.
Broke that shoulder down up there.
Oh, and looks like we got a lot of destruction on the backside here too.
I knew he was hit hard when he went down. He went down hard, and it was a good shot. 250 yards.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you accommodating me. I've only, you know, this is a super short hunt. And, we're speed hunting.
We're speed hunting. We've seen a lot of country, covered a lot of country today.
Oh, I guess. But this was exactly what I was looking for. A nice, mature, heavy antlered buck. And, well, I think it's time for me to go get the ram. You want to ride in the nice, comfy ram instead of that rough ride and ranch truck, right?
Sure.